guys, we're back. It's all killer, no filler, total fucking frustration. How you doing, guys?
Good, thank you. All right.
Yeah,
I think
good.
has it been like 2 months? 2 months or something stupid like that?
It's been a while. Yeah,
At least, yeah.
Yeah, so I've missed you, believe it or not. Both of you.
Oh, thanks.
I don't know.
Have you missed me?
Of course.
Absolutely. I just don't believe you. I don't think you miss us at all.
No, I do. I haven't got any friends. You're my only friends, and the other the other iridiots, of course. So, I do miss you. Yeah. So, yeah, I know. Online friends, that's all I've got. So, apart from my lovely wife, of course, she's my friend as well.
Yeah.
And many animals.
Many animals.
Yes, many animals that are all just looking at me now. Vamp's looking at me. The only reason he's not annoying me is because he's by the heater. Just standing there, trying to get warm. Dio's laying there just looking at me. So yeah, I expect to be hassled any second now. But we're up to 2019, guys. Wow.
We are, yeah. Yep.
Wow. It's been a long journey.
It has.
It has. We're not at the end quite yet. But so if anyone, because obviously I know I tell everyone the rules every time, but it's been a while, just in case you've been waiting for as long as us watching these programs, of course. So 2019, all killer, no filler, total frustration. The rules are we're up to 2019, so all music has to come out of 2019. We can't repeat albums, so we can't have 2 songs from one album. And the other thing is the track listing, which is always the fucker, isn't it, that gets us usually.
Yeah.
But let me tell you now, my fucking list is brilliant. And I know I've said that before, but every song on here is fucking excellent, right?
Okay, good.
There was no like, oh, I'll put that one in there. I've got to put up with that, even though it's not that good. This is all killer. Literally the title of the series.
Excellent.
Well done, Lee.
Yours all right?
Yeah.
Is yours all right?
Oh, no,
mine's terrible. No way. All I was thinking about, I haven't got a list together yet, but the next year could be a bit difficult, couldn't it?
Yeah.
Why?
COVID. No one released fuck all.
Not a lot come out. Yeah.
I know, but everybody was releasing stuff on the internet, weren't
they? Yeah, it was very.
I don't think it's going to be different.
No, it might not be. I'm looking forward to big. We might have to have like an all killer, no filler, free tracks, something stupid like that. Hopefully. Right,
I've had a quick look. I've got track 12 already, and 11 and a 10, so I'm not doing too bad.
Of course he has. Of course he has, Dom. Of course he has. Right. Okay. Yeah, always thinking ahead. He's probably done 21 as well. So we got to Dom first, isn't it? Because 2019, odd number. So
all right.
Track 1, guys. What you got?
Track 1. So again, my list is all fairly unfamiliar names, but some bands have familiar names in them, but we just haven't heard the name of the band. My number 1 is one of these. This is the Down and Outs, which is Joe Elliott from Def Leppard, obviously, and his band of mostly choir boys. They started out as a strictly covers band. They got together when Mott the Hoople had their reunion tour, and they supported on a couple dates. This is their 3rd album, but it's their first of all original material. The first album was all covers of kind of a 70s glam era. The second one was kind of half and half, like those Hollywood Vampire records, half covers, half original. But this one is all originals, and let me tell you, it's a corker. It's great. Obviously, when you hear his voice, first thing you think of is Def Leppard, but the music backing him is definitely not Def Leppard. It's pretty much if he fronted the choir boys, I would say. There's lots of piano. There's think of that 7 o'clock song of the choir boys, like the classic. Think of Joe Elliott singing that, and there you go. That's pretty much what this album is like. I really am a fan of that kind of material, Mott and Bowie and T-Rex and all that kind of stuff. So I love it, and I think it's better than anything Leopard's doing these days. It's a bit raw, you know, it's not quite so clean. And anyway, so this song is called Another Man's War. The name of the album is This Is How We Roll. I recommend it, especially for people who really love Leopard but aren't that crazy about a modern Leopard. This is a bit looser. I mean, I'm not going to say it sounds like Leopard because it's a bit more laid back, but I definitely think it's a bit of a more enjoyable listen than their more recent material.
Because I mean, I think Joe Elliott tries to, like on that recent album, tries to infuse a bit of that, especially the T-Rex type of stuff, doesn't he? But it just doesn't, that sort of stuff. I just want Def Leppard to do Def Leppard. 1981 preferably. You know what
exactly,
I mean?
Yeah. So those days are long gone. But if you do enjoy that era, you know, I think this is, and you like Choir Boys, you know, if you like Choir Boys, this is definitely right up your alley. It just has Joe Elliott singing instead of I think there's 3 members of Choir Boys in this band. So
can I just confirm? Dom said like the Choir Boys, not Choir Boys. All right, just in case. All right.
What?
Don't like Choir Boys, you like the Choir Boys. That's just confirming, all right?
All right.
You know, I mean, you never know.
I like the Choir Boys.
Tom, I thought you would be the one on that joke.
I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, Queer Boys? Is that what you're saying?
Choir Boys.
Choir Boys.
Don't worry.
Oh,
don't worry.
like priest. Oh, right, yeah. Isn't that funny that, you know, they were originally called the Queer Boys, but they changed it because they couldn't get signed with that name, and then they choose Choir Boys, which is probably even more suggestive these days. But I don't know. Anyway, there you go. Down and out. Check it out.
It's a bit early for Dom. That he would have loved that joke if it was like an hour later, wouldn't you?
I'll watch it back and just piss myself off.
All right, cheers, Dom. Excellent. You know what? I think I remember that album coming out, but I never got to listen to it. And I was never the Choir Boys fan, so him and the way Joe Elliott sings now, I was probably like, that's probably what put me off. But you know, that's just me.
Probably not either.
And all the rest of the fucking music that comes out that's impossible to keep up with. You got to pick and choose sometimes. Great one, Tom. Thank you very much for that. Right, Jan, what you got?
Okay, I think it's going to be like a running theme for the next few years, because about now is when I start listening to Planet Rock. So there's probably going to be a lot of songs that are probably just, I like that song and I heard it because I heard it on Planet Rock. So this is one of those, because it's not someone I would necessarily pick up, and it's Scott Stapp from Creed, and this is his third solo.
Tom, what's wrong with Scott Stapp?
Oh wow,
Scott Stapp.
And I'm just very surprised. I didn't know anybody listened to Scott Stapp in 2019.
Well, yeah, they say it's on Planet Rock. So yeah, this is his third solo album. It's called Space Between the Shadows. And I was surprised I like this, because obviously Creed are a sort of a softer version of Alter Bridge. But the song is called World I Used to Know. That's the title track. It's really good. It's really, really heavy. It's almost like Alice in Chains-ish. That's what it reminds me of, the sort of verses and stuff like that. But then the chorus is catchy, like you'd hear in Creed or Alter Bridge, and it's just a great rocking track. I've not listened to the rest of the album, to be honest, but this I wrote down a few tracks I was always going to include in this year, and this was I couldn't. There was no better #1 track that I had on any of my albums, so I put it in. So there you go, Scott Stapp, The World I Used to Know.
Yeah, and I mean, even though Creed were, you know, there's one of those bands in it that people, when they talk about them, they talk about Nickelback, don't they? And you know, it's like if you sort of almost ashamed to say you like them, but they brought out the odd really heavy song as well back then, like Mark, probably Tremonti's influence more than anything, wasn't it? But yeah. Good one, mate. Thank you very much. Okay, I think Don might like this one. I haven't got sometimes my lists are filled up with Swedish bands. There are a few on here, but not It's not tons, not the majority, but this is the first one. So it's Crash Diet. And they brought out their album Rust, and this was the first song of the album, and it's the title track called Rust. It's a Frontiers release. It's the 5th album. They had a new singer at this point. So, I mean, Crash Diet, if you ever look into, we might have spoken about this before, their history of bad luck. They're one of them bands that, you know, they've had a singer die and things just haven't worked out for them, and it's been a bit of a rough ride for them. But this guy's in the band now. I love his vocals, actually. I really like this album, but later on when we do an all killer for 22, sorry, I mean, I think that's the next album is just brilliant, but this is a really good solid album. It was just working their way up to that next one, but great heavy song, chuggy, sort of, they have got a sleazy touch to them, which has sort of recently gone away from them a little bit more, but this has, it's a real rocker. Excellent band, love Crash Diet, and I think they propelled recently up with the top Swedish bands. I really do. I've always liked them, but I think now they're really fucking good. But that's Crash Diet's Rust. Great track. There was a video to do with it as well. Check it out. My number 1.
I gotta start watching more videos. You know, I never watch videos anymore. I was thinking about that. And the other night, I just spent the whole night on YouTube watching old videos of things like from the 80s and the 90s that I never saw videos for, that I know these songs inside and out. And then you see the visuals and you're like, well, that's not really what I had in my head, you know?
I was talking about, I sometimes talk when I do reactions, it's sometimes a surprise to see a well-made video, because sometimes bands will just put the audio file up, or they'll put a lyric video. Lyric video must be quite easy, but they're quite good at it. I quite like lyric videos.
Yeah.
But then they make the effort, you know, and sometimes it's quite a surprise that a lot of it's green screen. You know, there's a couple of ones I've done yesterday. It really look cool though behind them, so they don't even actually have to go out and, you know, if it's green screen, so it's not that much money, or they just go in the desert, don't they? Well, that's what they do. Or on the beach, or whatever. Just to, you know, that's what they do. But no,
Yeah.
they don't often make videos. Even the biggest bands don't always make videos. So they just do lyric videos or something.
No. Well, Metallica have done one for every song, haven't they?
They have. Yes, they've done one for every song.
Who's that?
Metallica
for the new album, they've done one for every song.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Track 2.
Okay.
Yep.
Track 2. Continuing on with the new unknown bands here. This is Archer Nation. Archer Nation. They are a U.S. band. This is their 2nd album. It's produced by Mike Klink, who we know from Appetite for Destruction and many others around that era. It's on EMP, which I didn't realize had a record label, but EMP is like, I buy a lot of shirts and stuff from EMP.
Yeah. I bought one before, yeah.
They're the great ones that when you move your mouse around, the little arrow, it's the devil sign.
Oh, nice.
And I kind of want that on my own computer. I thought that's the coolest thing when you're scrolling around and you just see the devil sign. It's fucking fantastic. Anyway, cool. That's neither here nor there. The song is called Division, and the name of the album is Beneath the Dream. I would say they're mostly influenced by Megadeth. I would say the more melodic Megadeth, but when I say more melodic Megadeth, people usually think of like Trust or a Tulamon or something, you know, kind of a slower song. This is still fast and rocking, but it's got a bit more melody. But he definitely is influenced vocally, where he does more kind of the talky thing in the verses, and then more of a singing in that. But really good stuff. Archer Nation, 2nd album. I don't know. I looked up a lot of these getting ready for this. I don't know if they've had a 3rd since this, but really enjoyed that record, Archer Nation. If you like a bit of a melodic heaviness, melodic Megadeth is the best I can come up with.
I'm glad you boys, you're a lot more exciting to watch than my list. Oh, here we go. Here we fucking go. Guess who's here? So yeah, because you come up with bands all the time. Even though it might be different from me now. doing the
It will
challenge
be
of
different for you now.
2020.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, a lot of these bands I've already mentioned in past ones, but it's cool to hear you coming up with fucking bands like that. Mental. Very cool, mate. Cheers, thanks for that. What you got there, mate, Jem?
Okay, this is one that you'll like, Lee, and I expect you got this as well. It's Phil Campbell from Motorhead. And this isn't the Bastard Sons, his other project. This is his solo album. So I guess it's his debut solo album. It's called Old Lion Still Raw, the album. And it's one of those ones where he gets guest vocalists to do all the singing on different songs. So it's got some really cool names on it. It's got Alice Cooper does the title, the first track. It's got Dee Snider on it. It's got Whitfield Crane. It's got Benji from Skindred and some other ones. But the one I've gone for is track 2, obviously. It's called Straight Up. And it features Rob Halford. So Lee probably won't like this one, but it's a pretty good song. It's not Rob screeching. This is real Rob singing. Actually, it does sound quite different from Judas Priest. He's doing quite a sort of a mellowed singing on this. It's just a straight up rocker. All the tracks on here rock, and they're just straight hard rock as you'd expect from Phil Campbell. Phil Campbell and the Bastard Sons albums are really good as well. I don't know if you've listened to him, but this one's along a similar vein. It's just got different singers rather than his. I don't think his son actually sings on the album. I think his sons are just the sort of the bass and the drummers and stuff like that. But yeah, it's really good. So if you want to check out an album, it's called Old Lion Still Raw.
Cool. Thanks.
I agree. It's a good record.
I was going to say, I think that's more Dom than me.
Yes, well, I mean, sorry, I meant, yeah, Dom. I said Dom would probably have this record, but
right, okay.
I thought you'd probably like it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I have the Bastard Sons records, and there's some good stuff on this as well. I would even go as far as saying it's probably better than that Slash record that had all the guest vocalists. Even though there are some tracks on that Slash record that I like, I think this one's a bit more cohesive, and I don't know. I think it's quite good.
Yeah, I was only saying the other day about different vocalists. I know we listen to music differently now, don't we? Whether it's Spotify, whether it's Amazon, whatever they do, and iTunes and all that. But I don't know what it is about. Oh God, this fucking on. No, you're not going to get and knock all my stuff over. Anyway, yeah, I don't know what it is about.
A knuckle buster?
What's that?
Did you say a knuckle buster?
No.
Oh.
Knock all my stuff over. Sorry.
Knock all my stuff over. Yeah.
He likes to go behind there and then just knock everything over. That's what he likes to do.
Floor. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but I don't know what it is about albums with, and even if they're good vocalists, it's something about having different vocalists that I find it hard to relate to, because it almost feels like it'll never be a band, will it? You know what I mean? It's like, you know, it's a project more than a band. But I do find odd songs really good, you know, but it's just I can never get that as a top album for myself. Just me being weird, probably, as usual.
Does that go for like Avantasia and all that then?
Even Avantasia, yeah, I like some of the songs, but I'm not like, you know, that's a. Yeah, I'd rather have Yawny singing over the whole lot, you know, or something like that.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. I mean, it's a bit distant. I like it as a novelty, but I guess I understand it's not. Yeah, it's not like a cohesive thing. It's like somebody just coming in and singing.
Definitely.
Songs that somebody else wrote, or whatever.
Yeah. Anyway, I think Dom will probably like this one as well. So I think he agreed with Crash Diet. I think number 2 would be it's another Frontiers release. Bit of a project again, but they had just recently announced the 3rd album. It's the Defiance, and it's a song. Standing on the Edge is the name of the song. Oh God, I've got to pronounce the fucking name.
I was just gonna say, I was waiting for you to pronounce this album title.
What's it called, Dom? What is it called?
It's your pick.
It's a Zakusho. It's called.
Sure.
I think it's a Japanese word, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So very Japanese. The album cover is very cool. Actually, the 3 guys from the band. All these guys have got links or been in Danger, or are in Danger. Paul Lane's the vocalist, who was a Danger vocalist. My preferred vocalist, actually. Danger.
Yeah, me too.
This was the 2nd album. Classy melodic rock, bordering on AOR, some of it, but very catchy. The new song from the new album as well is absolutely brilliant. is really rocking that one. So I'm really looking forward to the new album this year. But this was a great, maybe not on par with the debut. I think the debut came out, I was like, oh fucking, I love that debut. But you know, it's still fucking great. So the Defiance and Standing on the Edge, really catchy stuff. Maybe not.
Fantastic
maybe not,
album.
yeah. It's just so melodic. Everything about it is very classy, you know. So yeah, that's my number 2, the Defiance. Okay, number
That
3.
actually made me kind of go back and listen to some older Danger because I was never a big fan of theirs. But I never heard the records that Paul Lane was on. I only heard like the first 2, you know, kind of big ones. But that was at a time when there was just so many bands out doing that kind of music that there's obviously bands that I'm going to like more than others. Danger just never really did it for me. But I heard this and I was like blown away. I was not ready for something I would like that much. Yeah. So then I went back and I've heard, you know, like the earlier Danger ones when Paul Lane came on board, and those are quite good too. So they get a bit grungy every once in a while, just because of when they came out, you know, in the mid '90s. But for the most part, I like them.
And I've got to give a shout out because I do say occasionally that, and it happens with most rock musicians actually, that they're really nice guys and communicate well. Paul Lane, literally, I've had an hour's messaging back and forth with him. He's such a cool bloke. Do you know what I mean? I mean, he might not be in real life, but you know, but he seems a really nice geezer, and yeah, well, you never know, do you? You know, I don't actually get to speak.
You always have to ruin it, Lee. You always have to.
Well, he seems really, he's really appreciative, you know, of when you do an upload a song or something like that. He's a really nice.
But he may be an absolute prick in real life. That's what you're saying.
Well, you don't know, do you? You just don't know. So, that's why I'm not going to download in case I, you know, ruin all my expectations of Jam. That's why I sold the tickets, just in case, you know.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
but no, plus, they
do. You would make me jealous if the 2 of you got together, and then I'm just kind of shut out.
It will happen. It will happen one day, but probably not a download to see true, because John won't go. It's too heavy. It's too heavy for me as well. But no, Paul Lane, he does seem a really nice person. So that's a cool touch, isn't it? When they're like that, reactive towards people. I like that. Anyway, track 3. What got any, guys?
Well, I mean, you've ruined that relationship now, so you'll probably never get again.
He might not be a fan of Killer No Fit. I don't know. Maybe.
Maybe. I bet word gets around to him.
Oh yeah, we are.
Oh God, I'm going to be on Blabbermouth.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Says he's a nice guy, but he could be a prick. You know.
Headline. Yeah. Iridium says.
Blabbermouth. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. Okay, so number 3 is a band called Wake the Nations. They are from Finland. This is their second album. I think my next 5 are all second albums. It's hilarious. From Finland, they are on a label called AOR Heaven. Do you know that label, Lee?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not that familiar with it. The name of the song is Midnight Lovers, and I forgot to put the name of the album, but you'll be able to find it 2019 on AOR Heaven. It's definitely AOR, but it's on the heavier side of AOR, if you know what I mean. Like, it's melodic and stuff, but it's a bit chunkier than, say, Toto or something. But you'll be interested to know that it is mixed and mastered by Eric Martinson.
Probably a good sounding song there, I would have thought.
Yeah, good sounding record. Yeah, just a great young band doing melodic, heavy rock. The ones that we love. So yeah, Wake the Nations is the band. I do believe they have a 3rd album as well. But this was their 2nd.
Very cool.
I
haven't heard of them, but you know, if Eric Martinson's got anything to do with it, he doesn't usually go and produce bands that are not good. Basically, puts his name under some really good bands. So cool. Thanks for that, mate. Another new one you haven't mentioned yet. Okay, what you got then, Jen?
Okay, I'm going for an old favourite, Swedish former death metal, but now progressive rock stroke metal band. That's Opeth,
Opeth.
of course. And this is their 13th album, and I believe the latest album. I don't think they've released anything since this. I might be wrong. I'll probably put some comments in there, but it's called In Carda Venenum, which is Latin for poison in the tail, apparently. And it's quite interesting because they released this album they sung it in Swedish, and that's the way he wants the album to be. But he did release it as a double, and they did the English vocals as well. So I believe when they play live the songs, they do them in Swedish, but and that's his preferred version of them. But I think he couldn't quite get away with just doing it in Swedish. So there is, I listen to the English version as you would. But the song is called Heart in Hand, and it's an 8-minute song, as you can imagine. But there's no. It's all clean vocals now, and it's just like a straightforward rock. And the first 5 minutes is just pretty much standard song, really, with chorus and sort of verses and chorus. But then it slows down as you'd expect from a proggy song, and it just becomes an acoustic and completely different song at the end. It's a typical Opeth song. It's really good. It's if you like Opeth, you'll like it. But it's got everything you'd expect in there: heavy and acoustic and really good singing, and just a good album. And I think it's their last album they've done, so they'll probably do some new stuff. So
I think you're right. Yeah, I don't think there's been one since. No.
Yeah, because I remember actually listening to this album. I can't remember how much I listened to it but I did quite like some of it. But that is the last album they did. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. There we go.
Cool. Thanks, mate. Thanks for that. Okay, so I'm going to Germany now. So
all right.
There's a band called the New Roses. I think I might have mentioned these guys before.
Yeah.
They tour the UK as well, so it might be one for. I think Jan would actually like these.
Okay.
They're quite rocking. They've got a bit of a southern rock sort of sound to them, but they're quite heavy as well at the same time. And it's really weird because they are the most American German band I've ever heard in my life. I mean, this song in particular sounds like I don't know. They talk about having a 6-pack and a radio down by the river. That's like, the sort of lyrics we're talking about here. And I was trying to think of a German river that might, suit this rock and roll song. They're like a mix. It's really weird. They're like a mix between like AC/DC, Skinner, and maybe a little bit of like classic Bon Jovi or something. They're all that mixed together. They're quite heavy and crunchy as well at the same time. They're absolutely brilliant, actually. One of the most consistent bands I've ever heard. Every album is excellent. They've had a new one out last year. Just classy stuff. It's their 4th album. Like I said, they've had 5 out now, but it's really catchy stuff. And the singer has really got a really cool, raw, sort of high-end voice. Sounds brilliant. I think you'd both like them actually if you give them a go. But especially this, it's probably the most catchiest song I've heard them do. So, "Down by the River" by the New Roses is a single as well. Okay. And in the video, they're down by a river in the video, by the way.
All right. Yeah, this was on my
green screen one.
Sorry, mate.
Is it a green screen? Or is it a real river?
No, it's a real one. It's a real one.
All right.
What was you going to say, Dom?
This was on my short list. I think the newer album is better, I have to say. So I was going to maybe save it for that year. But yeah, apparently they're great live as well. I know somebody who's seen them at one of those like indoor all-day festival kind of things, and said they were just great. So hopefully they'll be coming back.
And the most un-German band. I know that might sound like you're categorizing a bit, but we know what German music's like. It's very, it's usually very heavy and very heavy and sort of like Teutonic. It's definitely not that. This is rock and roll. Do you know what I mean? So very cool. So the New Roses is my number 3. We're up to number 4.
Number 4. Got another new name for you. This was one of my favorite records of the year, no doubt. Just about every song is great. This is a band called Jailbirds. They have a funny story. I didn't really know their story, but there was two brothers who were Australian, but they moved to Dublin to start a band. Apparently the scene that they were in Australia didn't have anything that they were looking for. So they moved to Dublin with the idea of starting a band, and they have. So it's 2 Australian dudes and 2 Irish dudes. The name of the song is Shadow of Love. The name of the album is The Great Escape. Definitely AC/DC influence, but not a copy. Kind of along the lines of The Treatment, you know, where it's definitely AC/DC influence, but they kind of do their own thing with it. I wrote down the word swampy because this song is very kind of got a swampy groove, if you know what I mean, like a 70s Aerosmith kind of, you know, back in the saddle kind of groove to it. But yeah, this album just came out of nowhere. Again, I was, you know, going on Rate Your Musics and your Fireworks magazine, all that stuff, and you know, if you like blah blah blah, check this band out. So I did, and it was a real winner. I don't think they have another album. This was their first album. And I think it might have been, well, it was a label I hadn't heard of. I didn't actually write it down, but it was a label I had never heard of before. So it might have even been self-released. But it's one of those needle in a haystack ones that have just turned out great. So Jailbirds is the band.
Cool. Thanks, mate. Another new one. Thank you very much. All you guys, you're getting educated on rock and metal here by Tom, for sure. Okay.
That's why your viewership is just through the roof.
I know. That's why I earn all these thousands of pounds that I send to you guys just because they're all killer. Right. Cheers, mate. Thanks for that. What you got then, Jam?
Okay. We've got an old favourite American metalcore band. That is Killswitch Engage. This is their 8th album. It's called Atonement. And just if anybody doesn't know, the original singer was Jesse Leach, and then he left, and Howard Jones come in. Not the 80s 80s English, a different one. Yeah, not him. And then he left, and Jesse Leach came back. But I'm bringing this up because there's a song on here called "The Signal Fire," which is a duet between Howard Jones comes back, and they do a duet between both of them. So that's pretty cool. But that's not this song. That is on the album. The song I've gone for, it features another guest star, and that's Chuck Billy from Testament. And the song is called "Crownless King," and it's absolutely ripping your face off. This song is brilliant, real headbanger, as you can imagine. But you know, it's typical metalcore vocals. It's a bit shouty, but still good. And obviously Chuck Billy's in there as well. Really fast, really heavy, great chorus, great breakdown as well. It's just one of them rocking songs. It's sort of song that I'm surprised it wasn't the first track on the album, if you like, but it isn't. It's track 4. So there we go. Crownless King by Killswitch Engage.
I'm by no way a metalcore expert, but I've got to say some of the breakdowns that Killswitch Engage do are some of the heaviest fucking shit you'd ever hear in your life. It is just breaknecking stuff. They really know how to do breakdowns. They fucking do. Yeah, cool. Thanks, mate. Thanks for that. Okay, I'm going for a band that I reckon Jam will have on his list at some point. I think I've chosen the song every time. So it's Alter Bridge. Oh yeah. There you go, Alter Bridge. For me, they brought out their possibly the weakest album. I don't know. Perhaps the one before that might have been a bit worse, but they've all been good. This is the thing, Alter Bridge. There's high expectations of Alter Bridge, so there's nothing wrong with the album. It's just not as good as the rest. It's probably, and you know, they've come back last year with something that's, you know, almost like so much better. They've improved again. They've almost upped their game now. But this was a bit different. The album altogether used some synthesizers in places, especially with this song. So weird that I've chosen this song, but I really like this one. It's called Godspeed. The album's Walk the Sky. It's the 6th album. It's probably the most different at this stage. It's the most different Alter Bridge song they've ever written, you know, I would say. 80s synths at the beginning, very emotional though, like Alter Bridge do with their lyrically and stuff like that. Really loved the track, actually. It was one of my favourites of the album. But I think hearing them doing that, I think it was good that they delved into it, but then they've almost come back again, haven't they, Jam, to AB3 territory, really, I think.
Pretty heavy,
yeah. So, Alter Bridge and Godspeed, a brilliant single. Loved it. There you go.
Yeah, great song. Love that one.
Yeah. Okay, track 5. We got Dom.
Track 5. Another one of my favorite records of the year. This is a band called Merging Flare. Merging Flare. They are another Finnish band, Finland. Again, this is their second album. I don't think that's ridiculous. The song is called Mind's Eye, and the name of the album is Revolt Regime. This is definitely bordering on power. But they don't have any of those kind of double bass soaring choruses.
Like tinkly synths. And
yeah. There are definitely synths on it, and it's definitely mostly fast paced. But for me, there's a difference between that and then the complete, all right. So this is on a label called Ram It Down. Have you heard of this album, record label, Lee? No. I'm always curious whether you've ever seen anything come down the pike by any of these kind of lesser known records. Yeah, Ram It Down Records. Yeah, shades of power metal. It's really fast paced, but as I say, it doesn't go overboard. That's more in the opening and the verses, and then the chorus goes into nearly an AOR chorus, but still fast paced. It's great. It's really great. But the whole record is great. Merging Flare. I was working with a couple people at the time who were kind of into that whole kind of power metal scene. I turned them both onto this record, and they both really liked it. So if that's kind of your scene, you like your faster paced melodic metal, check them out, man. They are deserving of your support. I don't know if they're still around. I don't think there was a third album. I think that lockdown really kind of hurt a lot of these younger bands' trajectories. Like they probably would have had a third album by now, but everything was just interrupted. So I feel bad for a lot of these younger bands that were trying to get off the ground. But Merging Flare, I really recommend that record. Record, what did I say it was called? It was called Revolt Regime.
Oh, another one, mate. Cool. Thank you very much. There's so much power metal now as well, isn't there? Even now, there's so many different subgenres of power metal.
Yeah, it's kind of an easy out when you're trying to describe music, but you can also give the wrong impression by saying power metal because sometimes power is completely over the top, which is kind of what I always think when power metal. But yeah, it's just good old metal to me.
And I think it's where power metal is quite popular. They sort of hashtag it on their videos all the time. Some of these bands ain't even power metal, so people looking for power metal bands will come across these other bands that I don't know. There's almost dark power metal, and there's this power metal that's the happier stuff, isn't it? But it's all power metal. Anyway, there you go. Very confusing. Thanks for that, mate. What you got then, Jan?
Okay, another band that I always pick, and one that Dom will have this album, but I don't think he'll pick anything off it as he's doing new stuff, and that's the Wild Hearts. They're reuniting the classic lineup with Danny comes back in the band and CJ, and they've done another album after this, and then it exploded again by the looks of it, so they've probably sorted off again for a bit. But this was called Renaissance Men. Really good album. I think you described it to me, Dom, as Wild Hearts painted by numbers. I think you said it was pretty much ticked all the boxes.
Yeah, I mean, it was. Don't get me wrong. I like the record, but it's a bit kind of Wild Hearts for Dummies. It's kind of like they're not doing any of their kind of involved, like weird, tempos and stuff. It's just very straight ahead.
Yeah. It's really good. I say the new album, or the last album they come out, is a bit more involved, isn't it? I think, but we'll come on to that when we get there. Anyway, the song's called Diagnosis, which I believe actually it was a single, definitely, but I think it might have won some awards because it's all about mental health, and the lyrics are just absolutely brilliant. He goes in and it has a bit of a midsection where he sort of has a rant at the doctors and stuff like that. For just he's saying he's not a number, he's not his diagnosis, he's a person. It's just brilliant. You've got to hear it if you like the Wild Hearts. Great catchy chorus as well. It's not miserable. I mean, it's a miserable song, I suppose you could call it, but it's uplifting, it's upbeat. It's just a classic Wild Hearts song. It's quite long. It's about 6 minutes long, this song. And it's just great. It's everything Wild Hearts should be about, really. So Diagnosis from Wild Hearts.
Cool. Thanks, mate. Thank you for that. Send it to me. I'll listen to it on the way out today. in the car. Right, okay. So obviously I'm going back to Sweden, and that also means I'm going back to Frontiers, of course. Another band that I think Dom might have seen last year, Crazy Licks. So
Yes, I
did you
did.
see
Yeah.
them? You did, didn't you? You did.
I did.
So the Forever Wild album came out this year. I think it's probably one of their strongest albums.
Yeah.
And this is my favourite song off this album. Could be my favourite Crazy Licks song. I'm not really sure. Quite epic for them. So it's not like a 4-minute, 3.5, 4-minute song. It's called Eagle, and it's absolutely brilliant. It's like a galloping, a slow to medium paced galloping track that's got some really cool guitar melodies all the way through it, coming in and out. Like I said, one of my favourite Crazy Licks tracks. Real epic European sort of feel. You know, sometimes they have more of an American feel, and then sometimes they go for this sort of really cool European feel. It's still really melodic anyway. 6 minutes and 21 seconds long. I think it's their longest track they've ever done, maybe. I think it might be a long one on the last album, actually. But excellent song. Check out Eagle by Crazy Licks. That's my number 5.
Cool.
Oh, you love your emotional epics, Lee. You certainly do.
I do, mate. I do. Okay, Dom, number 6, mate.
Okay, let's see. Number 6. Okay, I got a band, an Italian band. We're going to Italy now. This band is called Alchemy.
Fucking hell! I just want to live. I want to know one of these bands. That's all I want to do. One of them.
Well, I'm surprised. Well, I guess a lot of these bands haven't really followed up with a third album since you've been doing the channel. So I guess that's why.
Yeah.
I mean, if they had, I'm sure you would at least be familiar with it. Anyway, Alchemy album is called Dyadic, Dyadic. I think that's the way you pronounce it. This track is called Day by Day. I've written down that it's just kind of in that sweet spot of like House of Lords, Praying Mantis, that kind of thing, you know, nothing that is revolutionary. But when you do it well and you write a good song, well, then I'm hooked. You can do that all day long for me. Melodic, you know, rock, 80s influence, whatever you want. Alchemy, though, you would think Alchemy kind of sounds like a power metal band, or like maybe like a progressive metal, prog metal or something. Now they're just straight up, you know. I'm surprised they're not on Frontiers, to be honest, because they definitely sound like they would belong there. But yeah, Alchemy is the band. I do believe they've had a third album. I'm not positive though. But yeah, absolutely. If that's your bag, that kind of Frontiers, fantastic melodic metal that we all like. Alchemy from Italy, fantastic stuff.
Thanks, mate. My challenge is to know one band. That's all I want. We've got we're halfway through. So
we'll see.
Yeah.
Okay, Jam, what you got then, mate?
Okay, I'm going for another old favourite. I'm going to Denmark now for Volbeat. And this was from Rewind, Replay, and Rebound album. And for my opinion, the 7th album they've done is their worst album. I don't like it. It's far too commercial for me. They were starting to get quite popular, and they brought this out. It's just not as heavy as the other stuff, and you know, there's not many Metallica-esque riffs in there. The new album, luckily, that seems to have gone back to a bit better. I really like the new album. Whenever it came out a couple of years ago, is much better. But I didn't really like this album. I didn't like the cover either. It's the first time they didn't have like their quite cool drawings on the covers. This one had like a photo of some kids with caps on, I guess, and they go for the Peaky Blinders type vibe.
Can I ask you, Jam, do you actually like the song or not?
I like the song, yeah. I was going to say, there was a couple of good songs on there. So I was surprised I was going to put anything on this list, but no, I picked this one. It's called, it's a bit different actually. It's because I say it's not heavy, but it's called Sorry Sack of Bones. And it's got like, the intro sounds a bit like Batman, you know, the 60s show, the it's got that sort of thing to it. The whole song has got like a 60s sort of haunting, you know, that echoey guitar sound that you perhaps hear in, you know, like on Beach Boys, I don't know, something like that. It sounds very strange, but it's got a really good chorus, just a bit different for them. I know they do like changing it up, but no, Sorry Sack of Bones, it's one of the good songs on the albums of the 2 or 3 that I like.
I mean, they are very
really sold that one. Really sold that.
Yeah. I mean, along with Batman and the Beach Boys, I'm sold. I'm fucking getting that straight away. Anyway, thanks for that, mate. You're right. I mean, they still mix it up. I've only heard the last album. They still very much like one song. It sounds nothing like the next one, does it? It's
Yeah. It's just, the new album's just a bit more heavy. They brought back the Metallica-esque riffs that they didn't really have on this album. So.
Okay, mate. Thank you for that. Right. Okay, I'm going for a band that it's possibly my favourite band at the moment. It's Queensryche. So they brought out their album The Verdict, which is the third one with Todd the Tourer.
Yeah.
The 15th album altogether. A very cool track called Dark Reverie. It's like a bit proggy, it's slowish, it's dark. It's, you know, this album was very, I think, the most different one out of all four of the Todd ones. I think it took more of a progressive metal sort of edge to it. Unmistakable Queensryche sound though. You know, when you hear the clean guitar, they've got, I think it's straight away, you know, that's Queensryche. They've got a really cool sound to their clean guitar, mixed with obviously heavy riffs as well. Odd time signatures throughout it as well. Very cool. Yeah, one of the standout tracks, I think, on The Verdict. I think it could be like, apart from their resurgence with the Queensryche album, self-titled one with Todd came in. For me, it's probably the weakest one. I think either side of this, Human Condition and the new one, are just fucking amazing. But there's some really good fucking tracks on the Verdict as well. And this is probably one of the standout ones. Dark Reverie. There you go. All right. We're halfway through.
Okay.
I think sometimes, well, both of the bands you just mentioned, sometimes these bands need to spread their wings to come back stronger, if you know what I mean.
No, I agree. Yeah, I do agree.
Yeah. I think they need to make these kind of off-kilter albums or you know, a bit different from their other catalog, and then they always come back and just they're kicking ass again.
It's a really weird thing about this album. I absolutely love the album, but this is when they lost Scott Rockenfield, the drummer. So Todd
this is the one where he plays drums, isn't it? Todd plays drums.
And again, it's my weird fucking mind, right, that thinks, right, that isn't a band in the studio. It's Todd on the drums. It's Todd singing. Where's the drummer?
Yeah.
And it's sort of like, you know, now they've got the guy out of Camelot, which is can't remember his fucking name now. The new drummer, Casey something, I think his name is. It sort of almost makes me feel now that they're a band again now. Do you know what I mean? They're a proper band, and even though there's nothing wrong with Todd the Tourer's drumming, he's fantastic. There's something about having all the members. You know what I mean? Which is cool. So anyway,
Anyway,
number 7, mate.
Number 7. Okay, so we've got a UK band. Well, the singer's from Scotland. The rest of the band's UK. I think it kind of switched members. This is called Burnt Out Wreck. That's the name of the band. The name of the album is This Is Hell, and the name of the song is Rock Hard Sticky Sweet. She likes it rock hard sticky sweet. I don't know what they're talking about. It might be Blackpool rock, maybe they're talking about.
I was gonna say it could be a rock.
Yeah, it could be about that. I'm not sure. This is their second album. The singer was the drummer in Heavy Pettin'.
Huh? That's a bit weird.
Yeah. I think he wrote a lot of tracks for Heavy Pettin', though. I think he was always kind of part of the songwriting, just didn't sing it. He's got a lot of people just say this is just kind of an AC/DC copy band. For me, I think he sounds just like Mark Storace from Crocus. And I love his voice. It's kind of like a third AC/DC singer. Like, imagine if Mark Storace, came in instead of Brian Johnson or something, that still would have worked. But yeah, just just great party, rock and roll, riffy, AC/DC influenced. Good stuff. I will say I saw this band at a festival right before, 2019. and they had these two guitar players on the other side that were just fantastic. One of them was just like one of the best shredders I've seen, and so like he does all the orgasm faces and stuff, just amazing. And then the other guy was just like an Angus, just was back and forth, just banging his head the whole time, just like it was like a Mexican jumping bean, but fantastic, fantastic stuff. And then I saw them last year, and the two guitar players are gone.
Oh, fuck.
So they have two new guitar players who I'm sure are fine players in their right, but you don't have that kind of
Energy.
dichotomy. Yeah, you don't have that same energy. So that I don't know what happened to those two guys, but they were fantastic, and that's the band that's on this record as well. So Burnt Out Wreck.
Thanks, mate.
Cool.
Thanks for that. As we all obviously we don't just talk about music when things are brought up. I want to bring up the disappointing rock that I had the other day. So we talk about rocks.
Oh.
Some of them, do you know they make them soft as well now?
No,
Yeah. What's that all about?
I know.
Soft rock.
Yeah. So
Does it flop?
yeah, just like it's fucking like it's just soft. I mean, what the fuck? You want them to break your teeth? That's what they should be like, isn't it?
Well, it's called rock.
Exactly.
Health
Anyone.
and safety, mate. Health and safety.
Oh, yeah.
Can't be making hard rock anymore.
No. All right, thanks for that, mate. Much appreciated.
Sure.
What you got then, Jan, for number 7?
Okay, I'm going to Norway. I apologise because I got this band's country wrong last time. I thought they were Swedish, but that is Bokassa, who are brilliant. They're a strange band. Obviously, they got slightly famous, and this is why I heard them, because they supported Metallica, I think, for the big shows at Wembley or something. Anyway, they supported. Well, no, sorry, Lars said that they were his favourite band or something. That's right, didn't he, in an interview? So I think a lot of people checked them out then. But they're a strange mix. They're brilliant. They're sort of heavy, but they've got like sort of a punky edge. But then they do some of the songs are like doomy and stuff like that. There's the last track here is called Mortal Space Pirates 2, which is about 7 minutes long and sort of rock and heavy and doomy. But anyway, the second album is called Crimson Riders. I think Dom said you were going to check these out. I don't know if you ever did, but they're definitely worth a listen.
I think I actually
Crimson
downloaded
Riders.
one of the records, but I haven't come up on it yet.
Okay. Well, if you want to check out a song, check out this one. It's called Captain Cold One. It's got all the bits you like. It's got sort of like a tribal drum intro, and then it goes into its main riff. And it's got a whoa, whoa, whoa chorus, so you can't beat that, can you? So that'll be good. You like that. And all the lyrics are quite good. A lot of pop culture mentions in there. He mentions more cops and listening to a song by Pink and stuff like that. It's just quite funny. It's a great fun track. And one of the ones they usually play, I've seen them live a few times, and they usually play this as one of their last tracks. And it's just got big, heavy, chunky Metallica type riffs in it and sing-along vocals. It's just great. So I recommend Bokassa. And they've got a fairly new album out as well. So I think they've done 3 albums now. So, yeah, excellent band. Captain Cold One is the song.
Thank you very much. For that put people off, actually, Lars Ulrich mentioning the band.
Well, yeah.
He's not very well liked, is he, that guy?
No.
Anyway, thanks for that, mate. Right, okay. Well, I have to get a bit of proper southern rock in there. So I'm going to the USA now. The Stillwoods. I've mentioned these guys before. They're a proper, almost bordering on country sometimes, I would say. But they've got a real dark sort of edge to them. The second album's called Old News. This is the title track. It's like an acoustic guitar, and it builds, probably more vocally builds. I love the guys' vocals. Love the band, actually. Maybe my favourite southern rock band at the moment. And I do flick between these and
Wow.
Mate, I do flick between these and all the ones with black in the title, But the Stillwoods, Old News, they're just I don't know, there's something about them I fucking love. You just latch onto them. There's loads of like southern rock that people sort of recommend to me in southern music, but loads of it just doesn't click. It just doesn't. But then a band comes along, I'm like, I love everything from them. The Stillwoods is one of them. So that's it. The Stillwoods, Old News.
So is it the Steelwoods?
The steel, as in steel metal.
Oh, still, S-T-I-L-L.
S-T-E-E-L. Metal.
Oh, steel. Okay.
Steel. Yeah.
Metal. Yeah.
Steelwoods.
Yes.
Like Scary Trees Woods.
Steel, as in the metal steel.
Yeah.
And then woods like trees, woods.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Not scary woods though. Not black metal
No,
woods.
No.
Yeah,
All the
No.
trees are made of steel, apparently.
That's my number 7. We're on to number 8.
Okay.
Cool.
Number 8, another one of my favorite albums of this year. It was in my top 10. This is a band called Mud and Blood.
For fuck's sake.
They are Swedish. This is their second album, of course. The name of the album is Evil God, and the name of the track is Into the Midnight. I was writing stuff down. I wrote down this is a very kind of yorny style. Yeah. It's very Yorn style. His vocals are similar, maybe not, not as amazing as Yorn is, as we all know, but definitely has that feel, that kind of gritty Dio-esque, and the music itself as well is similar to the Yorn band. Not quite as heavy as Master Plan, not quite as just more kind of straight ahead. So that's the best way I can describe them, is kind of Yorn-esque, which in turn obviously means it's kind of Dio-esque, it's kind of Whitesnake-esque, it's got its, it's got all that stuff, but kind of put it into a blender. Mud and Blood, second record, Swedish, kind of a they weren't on a name label. Another one that I just kind of discovered, reading reviews and stuff. But yeah, it turned out to be one of my favorite records. Every track was great. So there you go, Mud and Blood.
Cool. Just proves how good Yorny is, that when we hear bands, me and you say like Yorny, when we could say like Dio or like Coverdale.
Exactly.
Yorny's that fucking good that we, that's good, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, when I was writing that down, I was like, it's interesting that I'm comparing it to Yorn, because Yorn is just, a lot of people would think he's just derivative of other things, but he's established his own niche, I think.
He has. Very cool. We had to get Yorny in somehow. Right, what you got then, Jam?
Okay, I'm off to Australia for King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. Sorry. Now these are, I don't know much about them. They're supposedly an Australian psychedelic rock band, but for some reason on this album, they've done 15 albums. They're prolific. They release about 2 or 3 albums a year apparently. But for some reason they decided that for the first time and the last time to release an album in a metal thrash style. And it's really, really good. It's excellent. I don't know how, it must be a word of mouth. I don't know how I heard about it, because I've not heard anything else by them. And the album they released after this wasn't like, it was back to how they usually do. But yeah, the album is called Infest the Rat's Nest, and the song is called Self-Immolate. It's absolutely brilliant. There's a video for it as well on YouTube. Starts off with a really rapid drum solo and then just goes into a thrashy riff. And it's just a rocking metal song. It's got like the singer's got like a robotic type effect on his voice. And it's obviously about he's setting himself on fire and all that. So it's just a really good track. I recommend this album. Like I say, strange name as well. It might just be 2 blokes, I'm not sure. But yeah, King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard with Self-Immolate. There you go.
Oh, I don't know.
I've actually given these, I didn't realize they had a standalone metal album. I've actually given them a shot every once in a while, and I just didn't really care for, I guess, their normal kind of, as you say, kind of psych rock. And every picture, it looks like there's like 15 people in this band. I don't know.
Oh, okay, all right.
But yeah, good.
Yeah, Infest the Rat's Nest is the heavy one. Yeah, good.
Very cool. Bit weird, bit strange.
Yeah, very strange.
But thanks, it's all normal. I mean, there's so much I'm learning today. It's unbelievable. So I'm going on to a band that we've all heard of. Fresh band, Overkill. So they bring out about 2 albums a year, or I think it's almost 1 album a year. So this is their 19th studio album, right? Obviously American thrash band, really well known classic thrash band. They brought out the Wings of War, on this particular year, and the song's called "Where Few Dare to Walk." It's dark, it's heavy, it's because they're quite fast, aren't they? A lot of the time, Overkill very fast, but this is more slowed down, medium paced. Obviously, that's why I love it. But it's really epic. Yeah, I mean that's just me.
I agree. As they get older, they seem to have more of these kind of songs in their records, which I'm all for.
I am. Although I think they're fucking great at the technical fresh stuff, and they're one of the few bands that when they go fast, the heaviness is still there. Because I feel that a lot of bands when they go heavy and fast, it loses the heaviness. And usually when they do a breakdown like these fast fresh bands, that's when the heaviness really kicks in. But Overkill are really fucking good at whatever they do, and they're sort of known as the AC/DC of thrash, aren't they? And they never change, and you know, one album sounds like the next or whatever. But I haven't loved them all the way. I haven't heard all of their 19 studio albums, so I'm not like listening to everything non-stop. But what I have heard is just they always never disappoint, really, including the new album is absolutely fucking brilliant. But yeah. This song is Where Few Dare to Walk. It's like I said, it's a bit heavier, it's a bit epic-y-ish, medium paced, heavy as fuck. There you go. And the singer's just amazing, isn't he? He's almost got now. He almost sounds like Udo a little bit in his vocal as well, and it's almost like Udo's going thrash. You know, it's just.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's amazing he's held on to this voice all these years. Well, same with Udo. You know, I don't know how these guys do it, but there's some people are just born with those throats that they just can take any sort of beating, touring into the world for 20, 30 years singing these songs, and they still just sound great.
I think like he doesn't do as many of the high end stuff now. Like in the early stuff, it was like some of the songs were really high pitched. Doesn't really do that anymore. So I sort of prefer his vocals now, which is very cool. So Overkill, bit of fresh for you. There you go. Cool. Okay. Track 9.
Okay. All right. Track 9. You know, I don't really talk about progressive rock very often or often enough on this channel because really the last like 5 years or so, I've really just got into it. Just modern prog rock. And I'm not talking prog metal. I'm talking like bands that are influenced by like Yes and Genesis and King Crimson and, you know, kind of the classic stuff. But they're modern, you know, so they don't sound 70s to me. And they are always, or the ones that I love are always very melodic, like have just great songs. They don't whittle around too much. I mean, they usually have breakdowns, like you mentioned, the Opeth song where it kind of breaks down and stuff. But it's not like prog metal where it's completely just like, you know, not like that. It's like, it's like melodic and, you know, instrumental passages. Yeah, just so many bands of the genre, you know, Pattern Seeking Animals and Spock's Beard and oh God, who's the one I love now? Frost with an asterisk. I just love these bands. They're very melodic. They usually have great singers. So this is a supergroup-ish. They're called Flying Colors. This is their third album. It's called Third Degree, so you'd never guess that it was their third album. This song is called Crawl, and it's Mike Portnoy, drummer extraordinaire. Steve Morse, who just recently retired from Deep Purple, but was in Deep Purple for the last 20 years. Not related, Neil Morse from Spock's Beard, who left Spock's Beard when he was born again after 9/11. That's a whole nother story. The singer's name is Casey McPherson. Doesn't really seem to be anybody of note, but man, he's fantastic. As I said, third album. This song is 11 minutes and 14 seconds.
Is that all? Is that all?
Yeah, that's all.
That's short when you're talking about the bands you're sort of talking about, isn't it?
Well, let me tell you, last night I went through all these songs again, just to kind of refresh my memory and jot a few words down, I wasn't planning on listening to this song all the way through. I just wanted to kind of go through it, and so I had some bullet points. Ended up listening to the whole fucking thing again because I couldn't shut it off.
Yeah,
It's just so brilliant and just so melodic and fantastic, and but heavy in parts. You know, they are a rock band after all, but there are keyboards and things like that. I just love these modern prog bands where they take these influences, but they don't sound like those bands. They kind of mush it up into like a almost maybe alternative rock into it as well. Can't say enough. Anyway, Flying Colors, man, fantastic album.
I think I've got the first album of
Oh, you
theirs.
might.
Has it got a song called Drag Ropes on it? Is that theirs?
That sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah. I did listen to it. Yeah, that's good stuff. Yeah, it's good.
Cool.
Very cool. Thanks, mate. I didn't expect to know that one, to tell you the truth, but thank you very much. What you got then, Jan?
Well, you're all going to have heard of these. I don't think it's controversial because they are a rock band, but this is The Who, as in Pete Townsend and Roger Daltrey. And it is, the album's just called Who. It's only their 12th album, which I couldn't believe when I read that. I guess they weren't doing stuff for a while, but
isn't that weird?
Only their 12th album. Yeah. The song is called Break the News. This is another one I heard on Planet Rock, actually. They started playing it. I mean, I do like The Who. I've listened to them. This is, they started playing this when it came out, and it's really good. It's got a strange structure to the song, though. It's sort of got like a acousticy, fast-paced verse, and then it's got like a slower bridge set, and then it goes to like a faster sort of chorus again. Very catchy. It's not ballad. It's not rock. It's not an out-and-out rocker, I'd say, but it's not slow enough and emotionally like a ballad. It's a sort of just a folky, I guess you could call it slightly folky song, but it's pretty good. I don't know if you've heard it. It did get quite a bit of radio play, but yeah, I really liked it. So got the album. The album's pretty good as well. So Break the News by The Who.
Well, wait until 2019. I mean, that's
I've got the record too, and it's it's better than it probably has any right to be honest. At this point in the game, it's actually pretty darn good. So.
Yeah.
Very cool. Thanks, mate. Much appreciated there. So I'm going to an older band as well. Not as old as the Who, obviously, but we're going back to new wave of British heavy metal. We're going Tigers of Pantang, and and Love Will Find a Way. This is an amazing bit of melodic hard rock here. So, I mean, this is off the Ritual album, the 12th studio album. They've changed a lot, though, haven't they? I mean, some of their songs have changed a lot from what they were, obviously, right at the beginning of the 80s, and you would expect that. And I just think they're such a fucking great band now. We're right on close to their new album coming out as well. This is just melodic hard rock, medium paced, really catchy. Got some sort of White Snake influences in there as well. An absolutely brilliant track. Love Tigers of Pantang. I just think they're excellent now.
I love that singer. You know, he's got such a distinctive voice. When anything comes on, if you listen to a mix or something, once you hear him, you know exactly who it is. Just a fantastic singer, I think.
Very, very cool band now. Very cool indeed. And I don't know if this was on Frontiers. I know they've been on Frontiers at some point.
Yes, I believe it was.
They're not anymore. But Love Will Find a Way.
Or are they not?
Brilliant track. No, I don't think they are anymore. No, they're not anymore. But I don't know. I think I'm not having a go at Frontiers because we found so much good music on that label. But I think some of the best music bands are releasing is when they leave them as well. When they leave Frontiers, they branch out a little bit. And that's, like I said, that's not having a go. I mean, Crash Diet were one of them. They were on Frontiers, and now with their last album, they wasn't. It's probably one of their best albums. You know, people seem to be finding a way. It's not the only label out there, which is good in it, because it's sort of a little while ago it was for that sort of music, but now there seems to be a lot more labels that are introducing great bands now. So yeah, Tigers of Pantang, my track 9, up to 10, guys. What we got?
Very good. Okay, track 10 is again a new name, but with familiar, well, at least one familiar player. This is Sweet Oblivion, featuring Jeff.
Yes.
You know this one.
I do.
Song I picked is Seek the Light. It's a self-titled album. Italian guy, with Jeff Tate. It was their first album on Frontiers. Now, we all know that Jeff Tate doesn't make very good records anymore. What was the last great record that he was on? Was it Empire?
Well, people could probably Empire.
Promised Land?
Empire,
Yeah,
I would say, and then Promised Land was, you know, people look at it now as if it's like a classic, but it's not really, is it? Empire was probably the last real decent one.
Yeah. So he hasn't sung on a great album in 30 years or whatever.
No.
This is the closest you're going to get. This is a very good album. Funnily enough, I read an interview with the Italian guy who basically writes and composes and everything. When they first got together on this album, he sent Jeff Tate the tapes. When he got them back, Jeff had put all these fucking samples and scratchety and, you know, all the stuff that makes the music that he makes, that repetitive kind of thing where he's just kind of moaning over and over again, blah, blah, blah. And the Italian guy went to Frontiers and says, I am not going to release this. He needs to stick to the script. You know, he needs to try again and sing, you know, sing the way he used to sing, you know, follow the melody lines that I put on that. And he, you know, to his credit, he did it, I guess, for the paycheck, maybe, I don't know. But it turns out that, you know, sometimes these people, they're their own worst enemy, you know. So it took this Italian guy to say, sing like you used to sing on these songs that I wrote for you to sing on. And it turned out to be the best thing he's done in eons, you know.
And that's why on the second album, the Italian guy had gone as well.
Probably.
Oh, really? Was he gone the second one? I didn't realize that.
Yeah, so they had to get someone else in because obviously he thought, well, I ain't fucking putting up with this shit no more. You know?
Oh, wow. I always wondered because I thought, well, they must have mended some bridges because they made a second record, but apparently it's not the same guy. Anyway, yeah, this is a great record. It was a big surprise to me. I wasn't expecting much. I will say, you know, I'm not going to say it's, you know, not as great as Operation Mindcrime or anything, but it's as good as Promised Land, I would say, which is, even saying that with him involved is a big step. It's like, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I do agree. I think it's a good album. I think I liked it a lot more when it first came out, and it's sort of like, you know, when albums that sort of wear off quite quickly, and I think he sounds better now than ever as well. His vocals. Don't know if you caught anything of him doing like live performance with his band Operation Mindcrime. His vocals have got actually better than they were, but you can hear the power has sort of gone. Even on the album you're talking about, when he has to really go for it, it's probably the good thing for him. He stays in that pocket where he knows that he can't get, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But his best, yeah, you're totally right though. His best album he's been on since, for 30 fucking years, whatever it is, for sure.
Yeah, which is really saying something. So for that reason alone, it makes my all killer no filler.
God knows what it was like working with that fucking twat.
I don't think they were ever in the same room, so
No. I mean, I've even seen the spitting incident. I don't know if you've ever seen that, of him spitting at Scott Rockenfield on stage.
Oh no!
Yeah, he gobbed at him, and I think that was the end, like, basically, of Queensryche.
Oh dear. Anyway, okay, so that's my number. What was that? 10.
10. Yeah.
It was, mate. Yep.
Okay.
Right. Yep.
My number 10, is Queensryche, believe it or not. Quite useful. Yeah, I'll be quick on this because obviously Lee's talked about the album. I agree, it's a good album. The verdict, that is. It is the 15th album and third with Todd. And the song's called Portrait. It's the last track on the album, I believe. It's like I suppose I'd call it a bit of a haunting ballad Actually, I think the vocals on it does sound very, very. I know it does sound like Jeff Tate, but particularly on this song, it does sound really, really a lot like him. And it's just a great sort of. It's not like Silent Lucidity. It's more guitars than that. But it's just a great album closer, I think, and a great guitar outro at the end. Guitar solo, sorry, at the end, which I like.
Yeah.
So, pretty good.
Great song. Absolutely brilliant song. Cheers, mate. Thanks for that. Well, my number 10 is maybe the most obvious one on the whole list, maybe not. So we've already mentioned Eric Martinson. So his band Eclipse brought out Paradigm on this year, and the song The Masquerade, which is one of my favorite songs on the album. Actually, it's their 8th studio album. It's just a huge catchy song. Great video as well to this. Just love Eric Martinson. I think there's a new Eclipse album coming out this year. I haven't heard any songs yet, but because it's getting on a bit now, you'd think you'd heard something. So maybe we're going to hear something really soon. And a new Wet album as well, I've heard is coming out. So we're going to get Eclipse and Wet in the same year. So double of Eric Martinson, which is very fucking cool. So the Masquerade, very catchy, quite heavy at times. Love it. There you go. That's my track 10. Right, 11.
It's going to be a wet eclipse this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very wet eclipse. Okay. 11. Okay. I've got another. Okay, you would have heard of this one. I know, Lee. So don't fret. It's another project where there are guest singers, but no. So Gathering of Kings.
Oh yeah.
This is their first album called First Mission. The name of the song is The Runaway. They are Swedish. It's heavy AOR. I picked this track because I love the singer. This is Bjorn Strid from A Night Flight Orchestra and Soilwork. I love his clean vocals. I mean, he's fine doing his screeches as well, but he's just a fantastic AOR singer. Can't really say enough about him, and this he does a great job on this. He sings on two songs on this album, and there's other tracks I like as well, but this was definitely going to be on here. The Runaway, featuring Bjorn Speed Strid. So Gathering of Kings, fantastic melodic AOR. What can you say?
I think they're it's like I think it's a husband and wife thing.
But I don't think she plays on anything. I think she just kind of writes.
Yeah, no, very cool. Yeah, I think he's the guitarist. I think, and then she just writes and stuff. I think that's what it is. But definitely, yeah. What I like about Gathering of Kings is I'm not saying that these guys ain't well known, but they choose the lesser well known, but they're all really fucking good as well. Musicians.
I agree. Yeah. I was looking up the names of the other singers on this record, and I didn't really recognize, much of their other material, except for Strid here. But great that they can find these singers and hopefully give them a launch pad to do something else. Absolutely.
Definitely. Totally agree. Okay, I think they've had 3 albums out now. I think 2 or 3, I think. So,
third one.
Okay, thanks, mate. Cheers for that. Right, where you got in, Jan?
Okay, I've got the debut album from the former Heaven's Basement singer, and that is Aaron Buchanan and the Cult Classics. The debut album's called The Man with Stars on His Knees, and I don't believe they've released anything since, which is a bit strange. That 4 years ago, being a new artist, you thought they'd probably get some more stuff out there. But anyway, the song is called Fire in the Fields of Mayhem. And they're just a rock band, really quite heavy in places. Some of their influences are Alice in Chains and stuff, although it's not grungy at all, but it's just sort of rocking metal. Very catchy, very melodic as well. I think this is my favourite track on the album, track 11, which is pretty good when you get a track that far down in an album to be one of your favourites. I think I've seen these. Have I seen these live? Possibly. Very good. I mean, I didn't know who he was, but I did like Heaven's Basement, so I think I put one of their songs on one of my other lists. So it's just good vocals, good playing, and it's bit of fun. Worth checking out the album if you like that sort of thing. Lee'll probably like it. John will probably like it. So good.
Thanks, mate. Cheers for that. Well, I'm going to Sweden for the last time. How many times has that been? 4 or 5, I think 4 or 5. So this band, actually, after this album, they broke up, but I think they're making music again. They weren't going to come back. They said that was it. But it looks like they're in the studio, which is very cool. This was their 4th album. This band's called Work of Art.
Oh yeah.
Mentioned these guys before as well. This is proper AOR.
Yeah.
A lot of their albums very Toto-ish, that sort of thing. But sometimes they're more straightforward, because Toto can be a little bit, I don't know, progressive, I suppose, at times you could say, some of their stuff.
Yeah.
But they do parts of that, but mainly it's straightforward AOR. There's something about this band that I just think they're really classy. They're really good. This song's called Let Me Dream. The album's called Exhibits. It's a slowish song, and it really reminds me of Street of Dreams by Rainbow, especially when you
I love that song. Yeah.
So they're an excellent band. And like I said, they looks like they're gearing up to make some more music. So, and the guy, I can't remember which one it is. The W from Work of Art is the W in the Wet band, because it's WET. So yeah. So I think it's the drummer is the drummer in this. I could be wrong. It could be the bass. Well, anyway, he's in Wet as well. So yeah, Work of Art, classy AOR, fucking brilliant stuff. So really looking forward to the new music. Love it when bands come back. They ain't been, wouldn't say coming back. I mean, they've only gone 4 years, but you know, still coming back. There you go.
No, I like them too. That was on my short list as well. Yeah, really good album. So it's nice to hear that they've mended fences.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Definitely. Okay.
All right. So number 12, we always say it, but you know, when there's a number 12, it's probably a really great album, because save those spots for the ones that are all killer albums. This is definitely one of maybe my favorite hard rock album of the year. A young UK band called The Brink. They were on Frontiers. This was released on Frontiers. I don't know if they're still on Frontiers, because it's been 4 years and they haven't had a new record. I know they're still around because I see their name. They're still gigging and stuff. But I don't know if they still have a contract. Anyway, this the record is called Nowhere to Run. The name of the song is No Way Back. I wrote down Melodic Sleaze, which I don't know. I guess it's as good as title as any. They got they've got the sleaze riffs, but maybe a bit more melodic hard rock in the vocals and the chorus lines, things like that. But yeah, The Brink, man, front to back. I think there's 14 songs on this album, and there's hardly a dud on the whole thing. I hope Frontiers gives them another chance, because I think being on Frontiers, as you say, bands can leave and do their own thing, but I think for younger bands, it's somebody will check out a younger band because they're on Frontiers, rather if they were self-released or whatever, So yeah, hopefully they're working on a second record. I would love to hear a second record. They are a young band. When they were making this, they were all in their early 20s, I think, maybe even late teens. But boy, they came up with a corker. So if that's all they ever do, at least they have this one in their pocket. The Brink.
Very cool. Thanks, mate. Well, I think I knew 2. Might be 2, might be 1, but I'm glad I got there in the end. Right, what have you got there? Brilliant list, by the way, mate. Absolutely fantastic.
Thank you.
And how you keep coming up with the new bands is just brilliant. So
thanks, mate. Appreciate it.
Cheers. Where you got them, mate?
Okay, this is another one that you had. This is Alter Bridge. There's no surprise there. From the Walk the Sky album. This is actually, I suppose you would call it the title track, but it's called Walking on the Sky, so slightly different. But yeah, I think it's probably my least favourite Alter Bridge album. I think it's a bit too long and not particularly memorable. Godspeed's a great song, though. That's probably the one I would have picked if I didn't have a number 12. It's sort of it's like a title track. It's got it's the verses are sort of ballady, but then the chorus is like heavy, with some big riffs in there, which is really good. So it's a different song, and it's just got an epic outro guitar solo from Tremonti, which is really good as well. So it's not too epic. It's the last song. I think it's only about 5 minutes long. It's not like it's a massive epic or anything. So it's got that epic feel to it, if you like, without being long. So there we go.
Cool. Cheers, mate. It's weird though, isn't it? Bands like Alter Bridge, where they've been around for a while now, and it must be fucking hard because they tried to do something a bit different, and it weren't way out so different that it didn't sound like them. But I'm not saying they've taken stick over it either, but it's known as like their weak period, wasn't it? Like that one and the one before, The Last Hero, was it before?
Yeah.
But they're still great albums. It's just this pedestal we put some bands on, isn't it, and expect, you know, it always to be that brilliant, you know. It must be fucking hard. But there you go.
Yeah.
Okay, my last track. Well, Striper did bring an album out this year, but Michael Sweet did. So he brought his 10th studio album out.
Wow.
And it was called 10. So I know it doesn't. When you say like 10th studio album, you think, oh, that ain't that much. But to think he was, you know, obviously he's in Striper and all that stuff as well, and obviously picking gooseberries as well for a few years. You know, so this is obviously this is the last track. It's 12 tracks on the album, and it teams up with Todd the Torah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And it's a bit of a weird one because I remember talking to Michael Sweet, and no, actually talking to Todd the Torah, and him saying that he asked Michael Sweet to be on his album, Rejoice in the Suffering, which was a couple of years ago. And basically, Michael said it's probably really not, because there's a lot of like atheist stuff. Todd the Torah's an atheist, and you know, he's very outspoken about it as well. And so he sort of basically said, I don't think it's the best thing for me to be on the album because I'll get stick for it, you know. But Todd the Torah has gone on Michael Sweet's album, and it's called Son of Man. It's about God, and you know, he's just. That's the way it is, isn't it? Yeah.
Crafty Christians.
Yeah. It's a really fast, heavy track, actually. Todd sounds brilliant. Michael Sweet sounds brilliant. It's really like 100 mile an hour, really fast. It sort of reminds me of, you know, when like TNT did it when they did their Tone of Toes album, and they put the title track on the end, and it was so fast paced. It was like the heaviest thing there and fastest thing they'd done. It's almost like that. It's really like fast, but brilliant at the same time. Yeah, just an excellent closer, a brilliant song. So Todd and Michael Sweet, I know they're good friends, which is very cool. So yeah, that's my last track. Thank you very much.
Cool. Bless.
Have we got?
Praise the Lord.
I know Don won't have any suggestions. No. But have you got anything, mate?
Yeah, just a quick few. Hell Yeah released their final album, obviously, because forgotten his name, died, of course. So that was the end of Hell Yeah, called Welcome Home. Slipknot, big band release We Are Not Your Kind, which I really did like. I did like that album, and I was going to put something on. I didn't quite get that. I'd really love track 14, The Soul Way First, but obviously we're not going up to 14. And got to mention Tool, of course, with their comeback album, Fear Inoculum. But yeah, I'm not a massive Tool fan, and so didn't get anything on. And Zentrix released a new album with a new vocalist because Chris Astley left, so that was strange, but pretty good, I think. And they've got, I think, another one come out this year or last year as well. So there we go. That was all I was going to say.
There's not many Tool fans that watch this, I don't think, so I think we're safe. But I was thinking about Tool the other day, and when I actually wrote their album down here as well. When you think about Tool, you know, people say they're such a clever and most interesting band ever, don't they? Like the best band in the world, basically. But when you like, so what they might do like a really good riff, like in a song that's 10 minutes long. And it really stands out as a highlight of the song because it's so few and often. And so when you get a riff, you're like, oh, fucking hell, it's a heavy riff. You're so happy it's got there. And it might have taken 6 minutes to get there. But do you know what I mean? It's like other bands write this stuff all the time, but I don't know. It's weird with Tool.
Yeah.
It's really fucking weird. I don't get it. But there you go.
Where
I
are
do quite
the
like them,
tunes?
but
Where are the tunes? That's what I want to know. Does
Yeah.
anyone ever sing along or hum along to Tool? They ever get a chorus stuck in their head? Like, oh man, really got that chorus of that 10-minute song stuck in my head.
What about the fucking tour they went on and the singer? Is it Maynard, is it?
yeah.
He spent the whole fucking night behind like a curtain thing, just showing his shadow for the whole fucking tour. Fucking
All this other
twat.
band are playing at Download, aren't they?
Yeah, I know.
I can't remember.
What a fucking twat, honestly. Self pretentious
Christopher.
pretentious arsehole. Anyway, put that on Blabbermouth.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm just going to say bands that brought an album out by name. So Flotsam and Jetsam brought out End of Chaos. Starbreaker brought out Dysphoria, which is Tony Harnell singing on that. Avantasia, Moonglow. Candlemass, The Door to Doom. Tesla brought out Shock, which was a bit of a shock to some Def Leppard fans. Shock to Tesla fans. Sorry. It was
slip.
obviously produced by Phil Collins. Bits of it sounded like Def Leppard, but I always stick up for that album. I don't think it sounded exactly like Def Leppard.
You?
I'm not saying it's the best. It's probably the weakest album they've ever done, but I'm not saying it sounded exactly like Def Leppard, what other people say.
I think it would have been better if it was produced by Phil Collins.
Anyway.
At least they would have had a really good drum sound.
They would, yeah.
Yeah, they did. They did bring that. Yeah, they brought that little poppy drum sound in, which was probably the most thing that sounded like Def Leppard as well. Death Angel brought out Humanicide. I think they're due out an album maybe this year or next. They're an excellent thrash band. Zentrix, you like a bit of them, I think. Jam?
Yeah.
English
I just mentioned
thrash
those.
band.
We just mentioned them.
I just mentioned them.
That proves I'm not. All I'm thinking about is what I'm going to say. I don't even fucking listen to you two, obviously.
Right.
And a Christian band who I actually like from Sweden called Narnia, or out from darkness to light. There you go.
Cool.
There are Christians in Sweden?
Well, yeah, I don't know how big Christianity is in Sweden. I'm not sure, but
Well, no churches left. They burnt them all.
No, that's Norway.
Oh, that's Norway.
That's Norway.
There you go again.
Oh, yeah, they're not all the same, Jam. They're not all the same, all right? Okay.
Well, now we left Europe, I've forgotten all about it.
Yeah.
He definitely voted Brexit, didn't he? He definitely voted Brexit, Jam, didn't he? Definitely.
I didn't actually. No, I'm anti-Brexit. I am personally.
Right. Okay. Good. All right.
Let's not get political here.
No, this is not a political show at all.
No.
Guys, thank you very much. It's been excellent catching up again. We've only got we can do it every year, obviously, when it's all over. But we've still got 20 and 21 and 20, still got 3 to go. And if we carry on meeting as often as we are now, we'll be doing this in fucking next year, probably.
Probably, yeah.
We'll probably just have like year reunions where we just get older and older and older.
Oh, I don't. I'm just imagining now, like, fucking, if we survive that, he's in about.
And then, as I say,
yeah, I remember that was a great band in 2022. Oh, God. Fuck's sake. Anyway, thank you very much, guys. It's been absolutely brilliant. I'll see you next time. Oh, put your list at the bottom, of course.
Oh, yes.
No,
we love all the messages, and we have a small but very dedicated and lovely following. Love you guys' lists and all the encouragement you give us on the messages. So thank you very much.
Thanks.
Exactly. And we know how hard it is to do them lists because of Jan's rules, don't we? So we do appreciate the time and effort you put into it. They've probably all got their lists already written out, haven't they? They probably go ahead more than Jan does, Anyway, thank you very much, guys. I'll see you next time.
See ya.